How you doing? And welcome to LC101. My name is Terrence Whedon, and I am a software developer with over 6 years of experience. And I am partnering with Launch Code to bring you this curriculum. I am going to go over this curriculum line by line to help you to understand what's in it and how to understand JavaScript. And that's what we'll be learning in this first unit. I want you to take your time and to go through the whole entire chapter and don't get stuck. I want you to finish the chapter and then come back and review it. So that means you're going to have to bookmark these videos. Another thing that I want to encourage you to do, I want you to get you some of these little spiral bounded note cards. They come in different sizes and I have multiple sizes. I have, as you can see, have quite a few. And I use these to write notes down because the more that if you can write it down, you kind of remember it better. Then also too, by putting it on these note cards, you'll be able to quiz yourself and go back and study what you have written down. It'll help you to retain it a lot better. Now, I am a self-taught developer and I got my start with Launch Code. So I wanted to come back and give back to this organization that has helped me to enrich my life. Now, one of the things that you're going to have to do, you're going to have to make a commitment. I want to explain something to you. Desire is what got you here, or desire is what is allowing you to want to learn this. It's piqued your interest, but it's going to take passion to continue to go. That's what's going to keep you going, is when you start developing the passion for programming. And I want to help you to develop that passion. But it takes steps. It takes commitment. And you're going to have to develop that drive. Yes, you're going to get frustrated from time to time because it may not make sense. But that's okay. Keep on going through the curriculum. Keep watching the videos. And I'll keep pointing out things that maybe you didn't get the first time, but the second or maybe the third time, it makes sense to you. So what I'm saying to you is don't give up. So without further ado, let's hop into the chapter. Also, I'm going to keep these videos short and concise. So although the chapter is very long, but I'm going to break them down into small sections because there's a lot of information here. Although this video is a little bit longer, but the next videos after this one, I am going to break it down into smaller chunks so that you will be able to comprehend and to be able to take it in, because you don't want to get information overload because that's not going to help you either. So let's get into the chapter. Chapter 4. And in chapter 4, we have data variables. Let's go to the first one. And it's 4.1, values and data type. I'm going to read line by line because this is going to help some of you get it. Some of you may not need me to read this line by line, but follow me because I'm going to bring out information that you may not know that's important to understand. One thing I want you to understand too is that learn the principles and the rules, and that's what I'm going to emphasize. Don't get caught up in the syntax as much. It's good to know it, but don't memorize it like that. In the beginning, you want to get yourself familiar with it, but over the long term, understand what it does. That's what's going to help you become a developer. And I'll give you more information as we go forward. Now here it reads, programs may be thought of as being made up of two things: data, operations that manipulate data. This chapter focuses primarily on the first of these two fundamental components, data. Data can be stored in a program in a variety of ways. The most basic unit of data is a value. Now let's look at this value here. A value is a specific piece of data, understand, such as a word or a number. Some examples are the number 5, or a decimal like 5.2, and a string like hello world. Each value belongs to a category called a data type. We will see many different data types throughout the course. The first two of which are the number and string types. So this is where we're starting. Numeric values such as 4 and 3.3 are numbers. That's self-explanatory. You understand that. Sequence of characters enclosed in quotes such as hello world. Look at this. I want you to think like the compiler. Right now we're introducing two data types to you. And these are actually primitive data types, and I'll explain in a minute. Hello world is in between two quotes, and that's what it says, enclosed in quotes. You have an opening quote, you have a closing quote, and then you have these characters. Each one of these characters make up this phrase, hello world. And as the compiler, when you see these quotes, you know that it's a string. So here are strings, so called because they contain a string of letters. Strings must be enclosed in either single or double quotes. In JavaScript, this is dynamic. It can be both single quotes or double quotes, but it can't be a mixture. So that means it can't have an opening single quote and a closing double quote. When the compiler sees that, it's going to throw an error. And we'll go over that later. Now, if you are not sure what data type a value falls into, precede the value with type of. So we have some examples here. We have the console.log, and if I put the type of operator in front of it, because it's an operator, and that string hello world, and then I have console log type of 17 and 3.1. And you notice that the numbers are in red and that the numbers do not have quotes around them. And then the console output is going to output string, number, and number. And I'll show you how to use the console in a little bit. Not surprisingly, JavaScript reports that the data type of hello world is a string, as we can see. The data type of both 17 and 3.14 is number. Note that some JavaScript environments may print type names and strings with single quotes around them, as in string, lowercase string with a single quote, and number with a single quote, and hello with a single quote. Notice that the console.log type of hello world prints out string to the console. The type of keyword, notice type of, pay attention how it's spelled. It has to be case sensitive. So that means it has to be all lowercase, type of. And it is a keyword. And we're going to explain that. A keyword is not printed in the console because the statement type of hello world is an expression. All right, so let's look at something here. Let's go to our Google. And in Google, let's type in expression. And I want JavaScript. So let me see, JavaScript. All right, there we go. So let's go here. And I want you to understand how to find information. It's so important because that's the life of a developer. Our life is to go in and do research, and we have to find information. So I want you to get familiar with how to find this information. So here we're going to be using a Mosaic. I like to use MDN. So I'm going to click on this one, and it gives me the definition of expression and operator. All right, so here we go. This chapter describes JavaScript expressions and operators, including assignment, comparison, arithmetic, bitwise, logical, string, ternary, and more. At a high level, an expression is a valid unit of code that resolves to a value. We just went over what a value is. A value can be a number and a string. These are the two data types that we're learning right now. There are two types of expression. This is important. Those that have side effects, such as assigning values, and those that purely evaluate. And we'll break that down when we get into pure functions. The expression x, and this is an assignment operator, that is not an equal sign in programming language. And that can be confusing right now because we do use a lot of math in programming, but this is an assignment operator. The equal sign is an assignment operator. And I want you to call it that because it's important for you to understand the terminology. So x is assigned to 7, or 7 is assigned to 8, or to x. That's how it reads. Is an example of the first type. So that first type of expression is two types, those that have side effects. I'll break that down later on what side effects are. This expression uses the assignment operator to assign the value 7 to the variable x. The expression itself evaluates to 7. The expression 3 plus 4 is an example of the second type. So we hear the second type is that those that purely evaluate. This is an evaluation of 3 plus 2. Now, this plus sign can be confusing as well because it has two different purposes. One, that it can add; the other, that it can concatenate. And we concatenate strings, we don't add strings. So if you see a plus sign between two strings, it's going to bring them together. If you see a plus sign between two numbers, it's going to add them, and we'll explain later. In an example of the second type, this expression uses the plus operator. Add 3 and 4 together and produce a value. Remember, we're producing value. That's what expressions are. However, it's not eventually a part of the bigger construct. And we'll give you an example later on. I just wanted to point that out so you can find this information. It's so important that you know how to look things up. That is a big challenge for new developers, people that are learning programming. So note, type of is a JavaScript entity known as an operator. Remember, type of is an operator. It's a keyword. It is similar to a function in that it carries out some kind of action. Though the syntax is different from that of a function, notice using type of does not require parentheses, and we're going to explain it to you later on. There are data types other than strings and number, including object and functions, which we will learn more about in future chapters. All right, so this is a long video, I know, but I had some introductions in it. I want you to bookmark this video. Also, I want you to understand that you're going to have to go back over this over and over again. And I want to leave you with this. The more you practice, the more you improve. Basic. The more you practice, the more you improve. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.